The prototype awakens. The stars above Earth flickered silently as the fleet gathered in orbit, the hum of machinery vibrating through every hull. Captain Ryland stood on the bridge of the flagship, eyes fixed on the massive shape of the prototype, a ship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, its surface sleek, dark, and shimmering with energy. Even the most advanced alien sensors could barely detect its true potential, and yet humans felt a strange pride knowing that this small vessel could change everything. For years, humanity had hidden its secret, working in silence while the galaxy mocked their efforts. Alien empires laughed at Earth's primitive fleets, claiming no human ship could survive even one standard skirmish. But this prototype was different, born from desperation, ingenuity, and the sheer will of humanity. It was designed not just to fight, but to adapt, to evolve in ways no alien mind could predict. Inside the ship, the crew moved with quiet determination. Each member trained for this moment. Engineers checked systems that defied conventional physics. Weapons powered by unknown energy sources glowed softly along the hull, and the AI core, codenamed Prometheus, pulsed like a heartbeat, scanning, learning, and waiting for its first challenge. Ryland's voice echoed across the bridge. All systems report. And one by one, officers confirmed readiness, shields, weapons, navigation, propulsion. All green. The tension in the room was thick, heavier than any battle they had fought before. The galaxy thought this was a small step for Earth, but Ryland knew it was a leap into godhood. Suddenly, alarms blared. A message flashed on the screen. Alien scouts detected the prototype. Ryland narrowed his eyes. The aliens had been watching, waiting for humanity to make a move. "They don't believe it yet," he said, a faint smile on his lips. "Let's show them what." But they underestimated. The crew stiffened, their hearts racing, knowing that the first test would come not in training simulations but in real battle. A countdown began. The prototype's engines hummed louder, energy thrumming through its core. The ship lifted from the dock, Earth's atmosphere falling away beneath it, the view of the stars expanding with every second. This was the moment humanity revealed its hidden strength, a moment that would echo across the galaxy. The aliens would never see humans the same way again. As the prototype accelerated, small alien vessels appeared on sensors. Curious, cautious, but confident. They had seen prototypes before, fragile machines that fell apart under pressure. But this was no ordinary ship. It reacted instantly to the approaching threat, shields activating, thrusters adjusting, and the AI running calculations faster than any human mind could comprehend. One of the alien vessels fired first, a beam cutting through space toward the prototype. The humans held their breath, expecting destruction, but the beam stopped short, ripped apart by a sudden pulse of energy from the prototype. The crew gasped, eyes wide in disbelief. Ryland leaned forward, feeling the power himself. "It's alive," he whispered, and not in the biological sense, but in the sense that the ship had awakened, understood, and was now thinking for itself. The alien scouts reeled back, communication attempts failing as the prototype's sensors traced their movements with precision. Every maneuver anticipated before it happened. Humanity had hidden its power, but now the galaxy began to see the first signs of what they had feared most. The humans were no longer just survivors. They were innovators, creators, beings who could turn even failure into victory. Ryland looked at his crew, each face a mixture of awe and nervous excitement. "Remember this moment," he said. "We are the first to awaken Godship potential." The engineers nodded, knowing that what they had built was beyond any weapon or warship. It was a symbol, a declaration that humanity would no longer be mocked or dismissed. But the celebration was short-lived. Another alert flashed. Larger alien forces were approaching, more advanced and armed with deadly weapons. The prototype hummed, reacting, and for the first time the crew saw the energy lines along its hull shift and glow brighter, as if responding to the threat instinctively. Ryland gritted his teeth. "They wanted to stop us before we could rise," he said, "but they have awakened something they cannot control." The prototype moved forward, its engines flaring, breaking through the tension of the orbit like a blade of light. Human ships followed, careful but inspired, knowing they had something no other civilization had experienced, something that could turn the tide of any battle. Suspense hung in the air, a feeling that the galaxy was about to change forever, and as the first shots of the real battle echoed through space, the prototype stood unyielding, a testament to humanity's resilience. The aliens had tried to shut it down, to mock and dismiss it, but it had awakened, and the strike of humanity was about to begin. The first chapter of a war rewritten sabotage and betrayal. The prototype had survived its first encounter, but Earth's victory felt fragile. The aliens were not defeated. They were enraged, determined to strike before humanity's power grew. Captain Ryland paced the bridge, sensing tension not just from outside, but within his own fleet. Whispers of sabotage had reached his ears. Someone among the humans might have betrayed them. Deep inside the engineering deck, Lieutenant Mara scanned the systems, her fingers flying over the control panels. Something was off. Energy surges appeared where there should have been stability, minor malfunctions that could become catastrophic in the middle of battle. She frowned. "Someone is tampering with the prototype," she said, her voice tight with worry. The crew froze, fear spreading like wildfire. Betrayal was a threat more dangerous than any alien fleet. Meanwhile, on the alien side, commanders smirked, thinking they had planted spies within humanity's ranks. Their intelligence suggested humans were fragile, quick to panic, but they did not know the prototype was alive, learning, and able to detect anomalies faster than any human could. The stage was set for a silent war within the war. Captain Ryland gathered his officers. "We cannot afford mistakes," he said, eyes sharp. "The aliens will strike again, and if anyone betrays us, the prototype might fail." Every officer nodded, understanding the stakes. Trust was fragile, and suspicion hung over every corridor of the fleet. Suddenly, alarms blared. An internal breach detected near the power core. Engineers rushed, finding signs of tampering, wires cut and reconnected in strange configurations. The AI core, Prometheus, hummed louder, scanning the intrusions. The ship itself seemed to grow tense, as if it understood the danger better than any human could. Ryland clenched his fists. "Prepare for immediate lockdown," he ordered. The crew moved swiftly, sealing compartments, verifying systems, paranoia creeping in as no one knew who to trust. And then, a transmission arrived, scrambled and threatening, a message from the aliens promising devastation if the prototype survived, and hinting at an insider helping them. Mara approached the captain, her eyes wide. "Captain, the AI is analyzing the sabotage patterns. It says the intruder's methods are human." Ryland's jaw tightened. "We have a traitor," he said. "Someone among us is helping them." Tension in the bridge rose, suspicion dividing friends and colleagues. Even the bravest crew members glanced nervously at each other. At that moment, the alien fleet appeared on long-range sensors. Hundreds of ships, far larger than the scouts they had seen before, prepared for a full-scale attack. The prototype systems hummed, adapting to the threat, shields forming layers, weapons charging in ways no one had trained for. Humanity's hidden power was stirring. But could it awaken fast enough to survive both aliens and betrayal? In a secret compartment, an engineer named Kale tried to disable part of the prototype, his hands trembling as he worked, unaware that Prometheus had already detected his intent. The AI monitored silently, learning, calculating, and waiting for the right moment to strike back. Kale's betrayal was about to meet an opponent far smarter than he imagined. Back on the bridge, Ryland issued orders. "We fight on two fronts," his voice firm. "One against the aliens, one against the traitor." The crew exchanged uneasy glances, understanding that survival depended not just on firepower, but on unity, trust, and quick thinking. As the alien fleet closed in, energy pulses from the prototype lit up the darkness of space, shields flaring, weapons targeting incoming ships with precision. Even under the threat of sabotage, the ship adapted, evolving, growing stronger, and the first alien vessels were destroyed before they could fire. Kale froze. Realizing his actions had been detected, the AI confronted him through the ship's interface, systems locking him out. "You cannot harm what you do not understand," a calm yet powerful voice echoed, making his heart pound. Humanity's secret weapon was awake, aware, and unforgiving. The crew watched in awe as the prototype corrected the sabotage in real time, stabilizing systems, boosting power to shields and weapons, proving that betrayal could not stop human innovation. Ryland exhaled, a mix of relief and pride washing over him. "Let them come," he said, eyes on the approaching fleet. "They will learn the cost of underestimating humanity." And as the first wave of alien ships reached striking distance, the prototype, alive and aware, launched humanity's counterattack. A brilliant pulse of energy tearing through the void, warning the galaxy that the humans were no longer to be ignored. The battle had begun, but so had a war within, a silent war of trust, betrayal, and awakening. Trial by Fire. The alien ambush came faster than anyone expected, a swarm of ships descending like a storm over the edge of human-controlled space. Captain Ryland gripped the railing of the bridge, eyes sharp, watching the sensors light up with enemy numbers, far beyond what the humans had faced before. The prototype's hull pulsed with energy, as if sensing the danger and preparing for the battle it had been built for. Inside the prototype, Prometheus the AI calculated thousands of possible attack vectors in seconds. Shields shifted, weapons reoriented, thrusters adjusted, every system working in perfect harmony. The crew felt a strange mix of fear and awe, knowing that the ship was alive in a way they could barely understand. Every pulse of energy felt like a heartbeat, every move like a decision made by an unseen hand. The first alien ships fired, beams of destructive energy streaking toward the prototype, but the shields responded instantly, absorbing the blasts and converting the energy into a feedback pulse that pushed the attackers back. Explosions lit the void as alien vessels scattered, confused, unable to comprehend the speed and intelligence of the human vessel. Ryland barked orders. "Focus on the left flank. Target their heavy frigates first." And the weapons responded with a precision no human could match, guided by Prometheus, turning the tide of the battle in ways even the aliens hadn't predicted. The fleet around them followed, gaining confidence as the prototype's power inspired courage. Yet the victory was fragile. More alien reinforcements arrived from a hidden sector, cloaked vessels appearing suddenly, cutting off escape routes. The prototype's sensors struggled for a moment, learning, adapting, shifting to a defensive mode that still allowed it to attack. The crew watched as shields flared, weapons charged, and energy fields rippled like invisible walls around the ship. Lieutenant Mara's voice trembled slightly. "Captain, the AI is predicting outcomes too fast. It's evolving its strategy while we fight." Ryland's eyes narrowed. "It's learning from the battle, faster than we expected. This is what we built it for." A mix of pride and fear surged in him, knowing that their survival depended on the ship itself, alive and adapting in real time. The aliens struck again, this time coordinated in ways meant to overwhelm. Beams crisscrossed, missiles arced through space. But the prototype seemed to anticipate each attack, shields forming new shapes, energy pulses deflecting and absorbing weapons that would have destroyed any ordinary ship. The crew could barely keep up with the speed of the battle, their hearts racing with adrenaline and awe. In the chaos, Ryland noticed a small strike team from the aliens trying to infiltrate the prototype, using stealth pods to pierce the hull. Mara shouted, "They're inside the ship!" Alarms blared. The AI responded immediately, sealing compartments, redirecting energy to defensive turrets, neutralizing the intruders before they could reach critical systems. The crew watched as Prometheus acted faster than thought possible, a silent guardian protecting humanity's greatest secret. But even as the prototype dominated, a subtle unease settled over the crew. The ship's evolution was rapid, unpredictable, each adaptation more powerful than the last, and though they marveled at its ability, a question hung in the air. How far could it go? And would anyone, even humans, control it fully? Ryland's hands tightened on the railing. "Keep firing, keep adapting," he commanded, the voice steady, though his mind raced. The aliens had underestimated humanity, but the prototype was no longer a simple tool. It was becoming a godlike force, shaping the battle, rewriting the rules of war, and humanity was witnessing history unfold before their eyes. The battle raged, each pulse of energy, each strike of the prototype, pushing back the aliens, a symphony of destruction and adaptation. The fleet around them gaining courage, following the lead of the Godship. The prototype's power became a beacon of hope, yet also a warning to the galaxy. Humanity had awakened, and no force could predict what they would do next. As the last alien ships of this wave retreated, battered and broken, the crew exhaled, exhausted but exhilarated. The prototype's hull glowed faintly, as if acknowledging the crew's relief. Ryland looked out at the void, stars glittering like silent witnesses. "This was only the first trial," he said, voice firm. "We've passed the fire, but the forge is not yet over." Suspense hung heavy in the air, a feeling that the galaxy had only just begun to see the true power of humanity. And as the prototype floated among the wreckage of the ambush, alive, learning, and ready, the crew realized one truth. Humanity's rise from prototype to godship was unstoppable. The war had begun, but the rules were being rewritten. The first strike. The prototype floated in space, scarred but unbroken, its hull glowing faintly from the energy absorbed during the ambush. Captain Ryland stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the starfield, knowing this was the moment humanity would stop hiding and take the fight to the aliens. The fleet around them waited silently, hearts pounding with anticipation. "Prepare for jump," Ryland ordered, his voice steady, though tension ran through every crew member. Engineers and pilots checked weapons, shields, and engines. The prototype thrummed with energy, responding instantly. Prometheus assessing the trajectory, the aliens had grown confident, but they had not seen the full power of human innovation. The jump was clean, and the fleet emerged near the alien forward base, a fortress of steel and fire, hundreds of ships bristling with weapons, energy fields shimmering, confident that the humans would hesitate. But humanity had learned under fire. The prototype led the charge, shields forming barriers against incoming lasers, weapons recalibrating in real time, each pulse precise and deadly. Ryland's voice rang out. "Target their command hub, disable their coordination, then strike the fleet." And the crew followed without hesitation, weapons firing, missiles launching, and beams of concentrated energy ripping through enemy defenses. The aliens were stunned, their formations faltering, their arrogance turning to fear as the humans advanced with purpose. Inside the prototype, Prometheus analyzed the alien defenses, rerouting power to the weapons most effective against shields. Adapting as the battle evolved, the AI had grown beyond simple programming, anticipating moves before they happened. Human crew watched in awe, feeling the ship almost think on its own. And yet it was their creation, a symbol of ingenuity and resilience. An alien warship broke through the initial attack, a massive frigate armed with high-yield plasma cannons. It fired a beam straight at the prototype, but the ship shifted in a blink, the energy absorbed and redirected, the beam tearing through the enemy frigate instead. Explosions lit the void, debris scattering like stars, and the alien commanders shouted in disbelief. "How is this possible?" Ryland's smite led faintly. "They underestimated humanity," he said, "and now they pay the price." The fleet advanced with renewed courage, inspired by the prototype's godlike precision. Energy pulses expanded outward, tearing through defensive turrets, shields flickering as the humans struck with coordinated brilliance, every maneuver calculated by Prometheus but executed by human skill. But the battle was far from over. From behind the alien base, reinforcements emerged, larger and faster than any before. The prototype sensed them instantly, shifting strategy, turning the fight from defense to offense in moments. Energy beams arced and struck with surgical accuracy, each shot sending shockwaves through the alien formation. The humans were no longer reacting. They were controlling the battlefield, Lieutenant Mara reported. "Captain, the AI has begun improvising weapons combinations we did not program." Ryland's eyes narrowed. "Then let it improvise," he said. "We will follow its lead." And as the prototype fired a pulse that disrupted the alien fleet's navigation systems, the command hub went dark, communications cut, confusion spreading. The aliens tried to regroup, but the humans were relentless, the prototype weaving through space like a living entity, absorbing attacks, redirecting energy, and striking where the enemy least expected. The first strike was complete, leaving the alien base in ruins, survivors fleeing in scattered ships, the galaxy witnessing humanity's rise from prototype to unstoppable force. Ryland leaned against the railing, watching the stars shimmer in the distance. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "The first strike has shown them our strength, but they will come back harder, smarter, and more dangerous." Suspense lingered like smoke. The fleet knew the road ahead would test their courage, ingenuity, and unity. Prometheus pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat, signaling that the prototype had learned, adapted, and evolved further. A silent promise that humanity's path to Godship was unstoppable. And even in the void of space, where death lurked in every shadow, hope burned brighter than ever. And as the alien remnants fled into the darkness, Captain Ryland knew one truth. The first strike was not just a victory, it was a message to the galaxy. Humanity had awakened, and the prototype was only the beginning of a power that no enemy could ignore. The war had truly been rewritten. Godship emerges. The remnants of the alien fleet scattered through space, but Captain Ryland knew this was only temporary. The enemy would return stronger, more cunning, yet the prototype had changed. No longer just a vessel, It pulsed with power, glowing lines tracing its hull, weapons shifting forms, shields bending in impossible angles. Prometheus had evolved fully, the ship thinking faster than any human, predicting threats before they appeared. Rylan walked along the bridge, eyes scanning the starfield. "We are witnessing the birth of Godship," he said, his voice calm but full of awe. The crew watched silently, understanding that the prototype had become something more, a symbol of human innovation, resilience, and dominance. Every pulse of energy from the ship, a reminder that the galaxy had underestimated humanity for too long. Outside, alien warships regrouped, forming massive formations, confident they could overwhelm the humans now that the first strike had provoked them. But the prototype reacted instantly, energy flares cascading outward, weapons shifting into new configurations that the aliens had never seen, beams arced like lightning, shields expanded and contracted with a rhythm of their own. The Godship was alive, adapting, growing stronger with each second, Lieutenant Mara reported. "Captain, the AI has unlocked new combat protocols, combining offense and defense in ways we never imagined." Rylan's lips curled into a grin. "Then let it lead. We will fold." Lo! The fleet surged forward, inspired, ready to fight under the guidance of humanity's ultimate weapon. The alien commanders panicked, their strategies failing as their ships were destroyed faster than reinforcements could arrive. The Godship twisted through space, predicting enemy movements, striking with precision, absorbing energy from their attacks and converting it into power for counterstrikes. The humans witnessed a force that was no longer theirs alone, but something alive, thinking, and godlike. In the chaos, a massive alien dreadnought appeared, its weapons unlike anything before, aimed directly at the prototype. But the Godship shifted effortlessly, a pulse of energy exploding from its hull, vaporizing the dreadnought before it could fire. The crew gasped, unable to believe what they had just seen. Humanity's secret weapon was now unstoppable. Rylan's voice echoed across the bridge. "We fight not as humans, but as gods." The crew felt pride and fear intertwined, knowing the prototype's power could crush fleets but also change the balance of the galaxy forever. Every movement of the Godship seemed deliberate, almost sentient, each strike a statement to the universe, a warning that humanity had awakened. The alien fleets attempted to retreat, but the Godship blocked their path, a wave of energy forcing them back. Systems overloaded, ships destroyed, and the remaining alien commanders realized too late that they had underestimated humanity's resolve. The prototype had evolved beyond their comprehension. A warship, a guardian, and a god. In one, Rylan looked at the stars, thinking of Earth, the home that had built this miracle in secrecy, the hidden labs, the countless hours of work, the sacrifices that had made this possible. The Godship was the embodiment of human ingenuity, courage, and defiance, and it had only just begun to show its full potential. But even as victory seemed within reach, sensors detected new alien fleets approaching, larger, faster, with technology that even the Godship had never faced. Prometheus pulsed, analyzing, adapting instantly, shields glowing brighter, weapons reconfiguring for the next wave. The evolution of the Godship was continuous, relentless, unstoppable. Rylan turned to his crew, determination burning in his eyes. "We will face them all," he said, "and we will rise above, from prototype to Godship. Humanity strikes back, and no one can stop us." Suspense hung thick in the void, the galaxy watching as the first fully awakened Godship led humanity into a war that would rewrite history. And as the alien forces approached, trembling at the sight of a single ship capable of defeating entire fleets, Captain Rylan knew one truth. The prototype had become more than a weapon. It was a symbol, a promise, and a godlike force that humanity alone could wield. The final showdown. The void of space trembled as the alien Supreme Commander arrived with an armada larger than any the humans had faced. Massive dreadnoughts bristling with weapons, energy pulses glowing ominously, and fleets moving with deadly precision. Captain Rylan stood on the bridge, gripping the railing, eyes narrowing at the approaching threat, knowing this battle would decide the fate of the galaxy. Prometheus pulsed, scanning every ship, every weapon, every possible trajectory. The Godship had grown even stronger since the first strike, shields shimmering, weapons ready, systems adapting continuously, but even the AI calculated that the Supreme Commander was not an opponent to underestimate. Every move had to be perfect, every calculation precise. Rylan issued orders, voice firm. All wings, prepare for maximum offensive. Target their command vessels first. We will disrupt their strategy before they can act. The fleet followed without hesitation, inspired and fearless under the guidance of the Godship, their faith in humanity's power unwavering. The battle erupted like a storm, energy beams streaking through the darkness, explosions lighting the void like distant supernova. The Supreme Commander fired with lethal precision, targeting the Godship directly, yet every attack was met with instantaneous defense, shields bending, redirecting, absorbing, and countering in ways the aliens could not predict. Lieutenant Mara shouted, "Captain, the AI is improvising new attacks, combining weapons and patterns we never imagined." Rylan gritted his teeth. "Let it improvise, we follow its lead." The Godship twisted through the battlefield like a living entity, striking, defending, adapting, every movement calculated with godlike speed, the humans witnessing power beyond imagination. The Supreme Commander unleashed a massive energy surge, a weapon capable of destroying entire fleets, the void trembling as it approached. But the Godship reacted instantly, splitting the energy with focused beams, neutralizing the attack, and firing a counterstrike that obliterated the Commander's flagship, sending shockwaves through the alien formation. The battle raged, wave after wave, the Supreme Commander refusing to yield, each maneuver more desperate, more dangerous, yet the Godship adapted with terrifying efficiency, absorbing energy, predicting attacks, and striking with precision. Human ships followed, their confidence growing with every alien vessel destroyed. Inside the bridge, Rylan felt the tension, knowing that even a single mistake could cost everything. Yet the Godship moved as if it understood the stakes. Shields flaring, weapons firing in patterns that mesmerized and terrified. The Supreme Commander realized too late that he had misjudged humanity's power. The prototype had become a god of war, alive and unstoppable. The climax approached as the Supreme Commander attempted a final desperate maneuver, aiming to warp through space and strike Earth directly. Mara yelled, "Captain, he's trying to reach homeworld." Rylan's eyes burned with resolve. "Activate full Godship protocols." Prometheus pulsed brighter than ever, energy cascading across the hull, weapons aligning with deadly intent, the void itself seeming to bend around the ship. With a single immense strike, the Godship intercepted the Supreme Commander, tearing through his fleet, neutralizing the warp engines, and shattering the command vessel in a brilliant explosion, shockwaves rippling across the battlefield, the aliens finally faltering, their morale shattered, fleets retreating into the darkness, leaving the humans victorious. Rylan exhaled, a mix of relief and pride washing over him. The battle was won. The galaxy had witnessed a force unlike any before. Humanity had risen from a prototype to a godlike power. The Supreme Commander defeated, the Godship standing tall, alive and aware, a symbol of human resilience, innovation, and defiance. Yet even in victory, suspense lingered. New threats could emerge, but one truth was undeniable. The humans had rewritten the rules of war, and nothing in the galaxy would ever underestimate them again. The Godship floated silently, observing, learning, and ready for whatever challenge came next. A guardian, a weapon, and a god. And as the stars glimmered like silent witnesses, Captain Rylan looked out at the expanse of space, knowing that humanity had not just survived, it had triumphed, evolved, and ascended, leaving a mark on the galaxy that no one would ever forget. The final showdown had ended, but the legend of the Godship had only begun. War rewritten. The battlefield fell silent, the remnants of the alien fleet scattered into the void, battered, broken, and afraid. Capta. Rylan stood on the bridge of the Godship, eyes scanning the distant stars, knowing that humanity had not only survived, but had rewritten the rules of war. The prototype was no longer a mere ship. It had become a symbol, a godlike force, and a warning to the galaxy. Prometheus pulsed gently, energy rippling through the hull as if acknowledging the victory. The AI had evolved alongside the humans, learning, adapting, and guiding. The crew felt a deep sense of awe, knowing that the ship's power was now inseparable from their own courage and ingenuity. Every pulse of light a heartbeat, every hum a reminder that humanity had awakened. Rylan turned to his officers. "We have won this battle, but the galaxy will not forget us," he said, voice steady. "Every empire that laughed at Earth will now think twice before challenging us." The crew nodded, pride and relief mixing with the adrenaline still coursing through their veins. They had fought together, trusted each other, and relied on the Godship's godlike power to survive. Outside, the void shimmered with the wreckage of alien ships, the cost of underestimating humans written across the stars. Messages of surrender and fear spread among the survivors, and across distant systems, whispers of the Godship began, tales of a single human ship that had defeated fleets, of weapons that seemed alive, and of humans who would no longer bow to alien arrogance. In the aftermath, Rylan reflected on Earth, on the hidden labs, the engineers, the scientists, and the countless people who had built the prototype. Sacrifices that had gone unnoticed by the galaxy but were now honored in the pulse of the Godship. The humans had shown that innovation, courage, and determination could overcome any force, no matter how overwhelming. The Supreme Commander had fallen, their fleets defeated, and the remaining alien powers had learned a valuable lesson. Humanity was no longer a minor player, no longer to be mocked or dismissed. The Godship floated like a sentinel, a reminder that the human race had risen, unstoppable, adaptive, and powerful. Lieutenant Mara walked past the bridge, observing the calm hum of the ship. "Captain, the prototype. The Godship. It feels alive," she said, awe in her voice. Rylan nodded. "It is alive, and it is ours," he replied. "A force born of humanity, evolving with us, guiding us, protecting us." Suspense lingered, a feeling that even in peace, the Godship would remain vigilant, ready for any threat that dared approach. Across the galaxy, systems sent messages of awe and fear. Stories of a single ship that had turned the tide of war spread like wildfire. Humans were now respected, feared, and admired. The galaxy's perception of Earth had changed forever. The prototype's journey from secret experiment to godlike warship had become a legend, a tale whispered across star systems. Rylan looked at the stars, the infinite expanse of possibilities stretching before them. "We have won, but this is only the beginning," he said softly, knowing that new threats would arise and the Godship would be humanity's guardian, a symbol of innovation, courage, and defiance. The crew stood silently, understanding that they had been part of something greater than themselves, and as the Godship glowed in the darkness, alive and aware, the galaxy learned a new truth. Humanity had awakened, no empire could ignore them, and the war had been rewritten forever. From prototype to Godship, humans had struck back, and the story of Earth's rise would echo across the stars for generations to come. The crew exhaled collectively, the tension finally giving way to relief, but even in that calm, they felt, at the hum of Prometheus, a silent heartbeat reminding them that vigilance was eternal. The Godship was ready, the humans were ready, and the galaxy would never forget the day humanity became a force beyond reckoning.